I'm Michael Reese.
And I'm Woods Davis.
And this is the Digital President Podcast.
We've cracked the code for generating customers online for every business model.
In fact, we wrote the book on it.
We built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses in as little as 90 days. And the one truth that we discovered is
the best business model is doing what you love and living your life by strategy.
You truly can follow your passion and create the life of your dreams,
as long as you have the right strategy.
If you're a real estate agent and you'd like to learn how you can partner with us to help you implement our strategies and systems in your business so you can make a lot more money and have a lot more time freedom, all without ever paying us a penny or giving up a percentage of your commission, go to partnershipdetails.com and schedule a call with us today. While it's fresh in your mind, go to partnershipdetails.com. Now on to the podcast.
The magic is happening. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Digital President Podcast. It's going to be one of the best episodes, I believe. It's episode 39, and that's not why it's the best. It's going to be the best because we're going to talk about funnels for realtors, and there's no better person on the world to have a discussion like this, but with the Digital President, Mr. Woods Davis, and myself. So, Woods, I think this is a discussion. Here's what I want to point out. And guys, listen, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. We are putting out tons of content like this. We're always putting in the effort, whether, if the content's going to come across as a training or a discussion. But I do want everybody to know, if you do like this, again, subscribe, turn on notifications. We put out new content every week. And at the end of this episode, we're going to end it with the best part. And Woods, the way I want to end this episode is, what would you do in 2022 regarding funnels if your job was to be able to predictably get clients or turn strangers into customers? But before we hop to the end, we got to start. And let's give a brief introduction or orientation, if you will, to what a funnel is for those that don't know.
Well, first of all, thanks for the introduction. I know that we're just trying to give you guys actionable content. And so definitely excited to share that. Man, when I think about at its most basic form, what a funnel is, it's really a way to get your offer to get an offer out into the marketplace. And then when people respond to that offer, take them through a series of steps to help them become a client, right? Like, to me, it's just a system of steps that you can learn in order to turn a stranger into a client. I think it starts with an offer. I mean, that's the way I think about it in its most simple form. I mean, what would you say?
Well, I think you nailed it, man. And actually, you made me think when you said that. It really is. A funnel is the process of investing dollars and to be effective and efficient. And the key word is, how do you invest those dollars and convert an opportunity to sales? And most people in the past who aren't using funnels, they rely on online websites, and websites have navigation bars, and they require the end user to navigate themselves. And a funnel gives that control back to the marketer by giving them the ability to communicate to the other person where to go, whether that's in the process, specifically, from the ad to the landing page, to the order page, to the call to action, all of that, like the actual organized process. Or here's where a funnel really works. If somebody stops, unlike on your website, you can't do anything about it. A funnel is a system of organized, again, effort, resources, communication, where you can re-engage that person to get them to the next step. So it's moving someone through a sequential set of steps until they're defined as a person who's ready to take action. For me, where that made the most sense for me was specifically when I started with expireds, right? My entire business was website driven. You went to my website, Woods, and it was like 11 home inspection pitfalls, the 21 things sellers don't need to make fine. Like, literally, it was like NASCAR. And it was like, there was so many different offers, and the person, whatever one they clicked on, right, then it would say, give me your information for this VIP. Like the call to action was a VIP. It was direct response. And I think people have to understand, like, direct response is where the marketer is holding back with a little tease on how to get more, right? And that stuff worked. I mean, that worked really, really well, especially with the internet, because that direct response would give you emails. And so but when you have social media and people and promotional inboxes and so many ways to deliver that message to somebody based upon where they are, now a funnel is different, because you can, like you said, a funnel is going to have it's going to have sections. It's going to have the top, it's going to have the middle, it's going to have the bottom, and each one of those I think we can unpack for everybody. But for me, the biggest breakthrough when I had my first funnel was, understanding that I didn't want to spend a lot of money, $5,000 a month sending postcards to homeowners that wanted to sell their home, and sending them to a landing page where half of the information was regarding buying and searching for homes. And so we got more specific, and I will say this: a funnel is all about getting your message and market match at the top. When you can nail those two things, again, with a funnel at the top, that's huge. And I know that you probably have spent more time. I would actually call you top of funnel. That would be your nickname, because you shine at the top of the funnel. I think that's probably one of your magic powers. So if somebody understands, briefly what the funnel is, would you agree with this statement? The top of the funnel is the most important. And if you do agree with that, why? Why is that the most important part of the funnel?
Well, I definitely think the top of funnel is the most important part of the funnel, because really what you have to do is you have to create an offer, a message to market match. Like you mentioned, you have to create an offer for a specific audience. And that offer is either going to, help them by solving a problem, or it's going to help them achieve a desired result. So for example, with your expired funnel, and I'd be curious as to what your offer was, but your offer could be to help them, sell their home for more money, right? Achieve a desired result, or solve a problem. Their home can't sell, so you're going to get them a guaranteed offer or a guaranteed sale, right? So that's the example. And you're targeting people with a specific problem. Expireds, literally, those people have a problem. They tried to sell their house and they couldn't sell it. So it's a clear way to identify a customer, identify a problem in the marketplace, identify an opportunity in the marketplace, and put an offer in front of them and get them to respond to you in order to either get more information, give you their email address, give you their address, give you their phone number, in exchange for information that's going to help them, right? What was your offer, by the way, on your expired funnel?
Is my value proposition. So for me, when I had a value proposition that was aligned and tweaked over time. So it was originally it changed, and I think that's important for people to know, that it changed. In the end, it was your home sold guaranteed, and it had an amount of days tied to that, and it had risk reversal. And so when people would land on my page, I had all of the components that you have to have on a sales page, right? And so a funnel is going to be at the top of the funnel. You have your ad, which is what it's the thing that's going to get attention. And I think people got to understand that, you can go offline to online, you can go online to online. There's a lot, I think this is very important, is that there's a lot of ways for people to get into your funnel, right? So getting into your funnel, which is what we refer to as the top of the funnel. And I think you made the statement of problem or desired outcome. We work on principles, right? Affordability, selection on the buy side. I was working with, I don't know if you'd call it certainty, but definitely convenience, right? It's kind of like the Uber. So Uber has a problem in every market they go to. This has been documented that when they go into a market, their challenge is they're trying to serve two people, the driver and the consumer. And the drivers need enough opportunities in order for them to actually take Uber serious, quit their job, and say, hey, I'm going to go drive because I can make a living. And the rider needs to have enough Ubers in order to have convenience, land at the airport, pull up the app, and have someone within a few minutes. And so once they get that magic, their system works. Now they can, but the problem is that problem scales. Every market, they have that same problem, right? And so with marketing, I think it's similar. You're always going to have this buyer and the seller, right? And so at the top of the funnel, I've always had to have two value propositions, and I've been able to go after the seller with the buyer side. And I'll give you an example. My wife just texted me, and she said, I got houses to look at, right? Now, the truth is my wife will start the buy process 100% of the time before the sales process. That's what motivates her. And so what I don't want to say, and I want people to understand, and we'll get to this later, is that there's what we call as angles. And I think the person that wins, and this is what funnels are all about. Funnels are all about, being able to invest money into marketing and generate a customer predictably, so you have predictability in your business, because you don't have the bottleneck of where you're waiting around for your next referral, hoping that more homes expire, or hoping that other people. It's and Woods, I want you to talk about this at some point, but it's about math. So when it comes to the top of the funnel, I want people to realize not only can you have different angles, and that's what makes you can have different angles, different creative. And that's, it is the most important part. If you nail the top of the funnel, then your next step, then you move to the next step. And that, like when I said there's all of this comes down to math. Funnels, the reason why you're building a funnel is because you want to go buy market share. Okay. You don't want to work for it. You want to buy it. And you say, listen, guys, I want to buy it. If you're willing to give me a customer for $400, I'll take 50 of them. Now, that's the goal. Well, the market isn't going to give you a customer for $400. You have to be able to go identify people that are your ideal customer. You have to be able to market to them and get their attention by making them an offer or providing a solution to a problem. And you have to remember that someone who wants to sell their home's problem might be making sure they can buy a new one. And so you have to be able to, the person who wins the funnel game, it's a lot easier to win the game if you've nailed the top of the funnel. And so how do you know, when you're building a funnel, how do you know, and I know you're the math guy, how do you know when it's nailed for somebody? Like, hey, listen, this is going to work. We just got to work on some of the other aspects. And, what are those aspects as well?
So number one is you got to make sure is doing the math up front that your total addressable market is big enough for you to be able to hit your goals. It's funny because some people put a plan together and, man, I want to do 100 listings. Well, where are those listings going to come from? And if they say they're going to, well, right now I'm doing for sale by owners and I got 10, there might not be 100 for sale by owner opportunities in that market. So like identifying your audience thing, number one, or the problem, and then being able to put that offer into the marketplace and get people to respond. Usually it starts with lead generation, people putting your offer in front of the audience and being able to get them to give you their contact information, which is going to be the very first start of the funnel. Usually the top of funnel is going to start with us getting a name, a phone number, an email address, so then we can begin this sequential marketing process, right? And we're trying to give them something, usually on the buy side, it's going to be something related to the two reasons that people buy, either selection or affordability. And then also too, on the sell side, it's usually going to be something related to either you're going to either help them save time or you're going to help them save money. Or like you mentioned earlier, you're going to give them certainty that they're going to be able to accomplish the outcome of selling their home. So again, I think that you know when you've nailed it, when you can consistently, predictably generate leads, and it's like turning on a water faucet. You know that you can if I put $10 in, I'm going to spit out 3. If I put $100 in, I'm going to spit out 30 opportunities. And that gives you the ability to know that, okay, you've got a message that the market's responding to, and you've got a marketing funnel that you can actually invest in, that you can scale, that can produce the amount of opportunities that you need in order to have the amount of conversations you need, in order to get the amount of appointments that you need, in order to close the amount of deals that you need, in order to make the money that you want. I mean, that's kind of the way that I think about it. So again, thing number one is really starting with the right audience. What is the right audience? What is the right, what is the right angle in order to go out and address that audience? So I'll give you an example where the biggest funnel that I ever scaled, I scaled nationally, and it was all about solving a problem. It was when people were struggling with foreclosure. 2008, 2009 through probably 2013, we were still going pretty strong through all those years. There was a recession. The big problem was people couldn't afford their mortgage payment, right? So we put an offer out into the marketplace to identify, and the cool thing, or to help people prevent a foreclosure and take advantage of legislation that had been passed at that time that would basically allow them to escape some tax liabilities and some financial challenges that would happen if they did allow their home to go into foreclosure and they just walked away. So again, at that time, it was very easy to know how many opportunities there were in the marketplace because we knew what the foreclosure rates were. We knew how many people were going into foreclosure process. That's our total addressable market. Now, how do we get this message in front of them that we can help them, that we can help them for free? And then again, that's what kind of got them into the funnel. So I think it's really just identifying that audience, man, making sure the audience is big enough, making sure there's a good enough opportunity there, and you can create a good enough offer for them that they're going to respond to it. And once you have that math, that baseline math of, man, what does it cost for me to generate these leads and get in front of these people? Then you know that you can nail and scale a funnel. Man, okay, so I'll just tell you, what I really believe in and what I really like for 2022. I'll give you the full context. So, okay, so 2022. First of all, let's look at the market. Let's look at the condition of the market, where we're at. What's the reality in a lot of markets? We've got low inventory. And again, I'm going to kind of maybe address this from the buy side. We've got low inventory. We still have a lot of demand. And right now in a lot of places, the inventory that comes on, a lot of it is new construction. There's a lot of new construction opportunities. I'd say that probably one of the best things that I would focus on if it's available in your marketplace would be new construction. So that would be my hook. That would be my angle that I would put into the marketplace. I would start with an offer and I would advertise it on social media. I would probably start on Facebook because it's one of the most inexpensive ways to get in front of a target audience. I would target people on Facebook who have visited and shown some interest in buying a home. So I would target people who have been interested in Realtor.com, who have been interested in Zillow, who have been interested in Trulia, who've been interested into houses.net. And I think that we have a checklist kind of that we follow with our targeting. So I target those people because they've already demonstrated interest in homes, but I would make them a specific offer to access all of the new construction properties in their marketplace, again, selection, okay, in exchange for their information. Then what I would also do as to add more value beyond what they could just get, they could go look at homes on Zillow, they could go look at homes on Realtor.com. But in order to add more value, I would also make a secondary offer to them that we will also give them access to all of the incentives that different builders are offering, and give them more information than they would just get on a Zillow. So again, I'd start there. I'd start running ads, generating leads on Facebook for people who are interested in new construction homes. Now, once we do that, now it just so happens I've already built this funnel out, so I know the numbers and I know the math, so I know this works. And so then what I would start doing immediately is, once we start generating those leads, I'd have a follow-up campaign that's going to try to get a conversation started. That's the middle of the funnel. The top of funnel is the audience, the message to market match, generating the lead, getting the contact information. Now we're moving on to the middle of the funnel, which is beginning the conversion process. We're trying to convert somebody from a lead into a conversation, into an appointment, which moves them down to the bottom of the funnel, right? So if I'm trying to get people into a conversation, thing number one, I'm just trying to get them to respond. So for example, I'm going to deliver on what I promised to give them. If they ask for new construction properties, I'm going to send them the new construction properties as promised. And then I'm going to make them a secondary offer. I'm going to say, hey, by the way, I just made a list of all of the builder incentives for all the new construction properties in the area that could help you save up to $20,000. Would you like me to send that to you as well? Try to elicit a response. They don't respond. What areas are you interested in buying a home? Right? I'm trying to start a conversation. So that's the next thing, is to try to start a conversation. Now, the secondary thing that I'm trying to do at the middle of the funnel is I'm trying to get into conversation, but I'm also trying to build a relationship and add more value so people will want to talk to me, because they need to know, like, and trust me before they're going to be willing to meet with me, schedule an appointment, and want to do business with me. So I think that one of the number one things that you could do, and what I would do, and what a lot of our agents are doing, is I would go and I would shoot videos. I would do video tours of the new construction neighborhoods. I would do video tours of new construction properties. I would organize those into a playlist on my YouTube channel. And then I would send that playlist to every single lead that comes into my system. I would say, by the way, here's a video tour of some of the best our clients' favorite new construction neighborhoods. And I'd send them a link and I would let them start watching those videos. The coolest thing about the YouTube or about using YouTube is that you only have to shoot those videos once. But if we're generating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads every single month, those people start to go watch those videos, and they might go watch 10 of your videos. And what I've discovered is that when people start consuming your content, they get to know you, they get to like you, they get to trust you a little more. So they're more open to that conversation. They're going to start giving you more information when you start engaging them in a conversation, and they're going to be more likely, it's going to be easier to transition them to an appointment. If they like a video that I've sent them of a property, then it's a very natural follow-up to ask them if they'd like to go see that property. Ask them what they think. And so again, that's kind of the middle of funnel. I would make sure that we have text message, email, voicemail, follow-up that's structured. But I would also make sure that we're delivering value, driving people to consume content on YouTube, because if they watch a YouTube video, then they're probably going to get targeted with another YouTube video, which is going to lead to an appointment. And that brings us to the bottom of the funnel, which is the appointments. And that's where we kind of transition from marketing over to the sales process. And I think that might be a little beyond the scope of this call as far as the full sales process and, how to basically, take somebody once you're showing them property or whatever and convert them into a client. But however, that's what I would do to get appointments, right? Real simple. Ad, message, angle, specific content related to what they told us they were interested in, and, get into those conversations and try to set appointments. So that's where I'll start. That's probably one of the number one funnels that I think that we've identified and you and I have worked on. So that's probably what I would say 2022, what I would do if I was just trying to start from scratch.
I love it, man.
So,
And guys, listen, this is something that you should do. And in fact, if it's something you want to do, make sure you go to myfunnelcall.com, and we do have a guy that can build that funnel out for you, literally make your phone ring. I think that's a great thing, Woods. For me, listen, I'm going to just go. And when I was saying put some color on it, let me explain something to you guys. For me, I'm over buyers, right? So I would rather take a little bit more time on the front end to get my time back because I'm in a financial place that I can do that. So I want to preview that. The pros and cons about the new construction. Pros are you're going to have people that got to sell their house, right? Because they want to buy a new one, which is awesome. But also with new construction, my mom just went and put a contract on the house yesterday there in Dallas. In Dallas, there was a 2-year waiting list for new construction. And so that's that, depending on your market, those are just some things you want to consider. The reason I hate listings and the reason I like listings. I hate listings because historically, a listing you can't control when it sells, right? Obviously you can't do that with the buyer, but you can get someone who's pre-approved, whose home is sold, who's homeless, who has to be in a home, or like my mom who flew to another state and is trying to put something under contract. With the listing, however, they can get a buyer. You have to put it on the market. It's got to get a contract, and then it has to have showings. Then they have to schedule a close date. So it's typically got a longer cash conversion cycle. However, if you work with a seller that is motivated, then I think you can have the shortest cash conversion. And so for me, it would be the cash offer, or again, more of the hassle free, which is receive up to 3 offers. My value proposition would be leveraged on giving them an offer. I would leverage giving them an offer by all of the different companies that offered in my market on how to give offers. So I would understand their work processes and workflows. I would also in turn not only learn them, but shoot a video on how those work so that I could get those keywords and be kind of like that one-stop shop place for people who want to get multiple offers. I would start the whole process with the list. So for me, what I learned real early on is that whatever you can do more frequently over time on the sell side, right? Selling is about frequency and winning top of mind. And so I would rather be in front of, if I had a limited budget, I'd rather be in front of the same 2,500 people all year than I would rather than to be in front of 10,000 people, for 90 days to see if it could work. I'd rather have a longer, because once I knew that I could make it work with 2,500 people, then I could expand that. And I would use the force multiplier effect on the top of the funnel, which meant it would be ads, it would be offline, and it would be calling. But again, the reason I'm willing to do that is because when I get this listing, it's the investment of time. If I get a new construction listing, I could, like my mom looked at homes for 2 days, right? In lieu of looking at homes for 2 days, I'd much rather call 2,500 homes at 500 outbound dials a day, doing a survey, right? Surveying those people and asking them in the survey question if they would be interested in getting a cash offer or receiving multiple offers. Would they like to know more about our hassle-free sale program? So again, I would put a lot of weight on the value proposition and really narrow down my target market. And I would use the force multiplier effect, and I would go after a neighborhood that had a higher turnover rate, right? So for me, my funnel would be a seller funnel. It would layer in. The goal of my funnel is to get that small audience opted in. And what that means is let's say there's 2,500 homes, my goal would be to get as many of those people to get their email address and their cell phone numbers so that I have the ability to communicate to them over time. Again, the reason I like this strategy is because if it works for 2,500, then I go to 5,000 and 10,000. I watched a guy do a similar strategy, not with the same offer, but take over a neighborhood, did 73 transactions in one subdivision. I think there's a lot of benefits. You are you're perceived as an expert. You can use data on the presentation to increase conversion, and at the end of the day, get one testimonial that's actually in a, around a house that people recognize, or an area that people would recognize, right? Like, I think you start to build momentum in your in your conversion. My main focus would be to stack a custom audience for that neighborhood, right? So I would start with the custom audience. I get all of the addresses and all the information data-wise that I could possibly get. So maybe I'd put all those addresses into something like Redx, upload those into a custom audience with my same message that they're going to receive. So they're going to receive that message via ad, and they're going to also receive that message via direct mail. And again, instead of showing buyers around hoping that they sell and wasting my time, I'm going to invest in an ISA to do a survey call. It's a real easy survey. All I'm trying to do is have them go through, and if that person doesn't want any of that, ask them if they'd like to know the market update. And I'm going hyper focused on my sell, because I'm going for building a system that allows me to get market share that I can then duplicate into other neighborhoods. And this funnel would be aligned to the pain in the marketplace, right? Like, no one wants 86 showings on day one of their home and having a bunch of people with this new Omicron variant of the virus going around, having a bunch of strangers walk through their house, not knowing, what porta potty the last visitor, was standing in with their dirty tennis shoes, right? And so for me, I'm gonna play to that. I'm gonna play to the hassle-free. I might even give it a pandemic, the pandemic home selling system, right? Like, how to sell your home fast for top dollar and receive multiple offers within 72 hours without having the hassle of having strangers. So it's going to be without the pain, with skipping the pain. And so I'm going to dial in the value prop, and I'm going to dial in getting the message in front of those people with the objective that I then have the ability to email them YouTube videos. I have the ability to put custom messages in front of those people. There's a travel app called Hopper that's done really well with, you go and look at flights, and they've done really good on moving you through that funnel. So I'd move people through that funnel. The landing page would be a step one. So it would capture their address, and anybody who submitted their address in step one but didn't give me their information, I would augment that information, and they would go into the survey calls as well. They would go into an outbound survey call where, hey, we're doing a homeownership survey here in the city of Frisco for 2022. We had a quick question. Do you plan on moving in the next 12 months? No. Do you know anyone in the neighborhood that might be interested in receiving up to 3 offers on their home in 72 hours and skipping the, oh yeah, we have a friend that's thinking about selling, right? So I would force multiplier. That's the principle. I want to get my message out, and I want to be consistent because I want to build my personal brand and start to build my where I have market share, and then expand that into other markets, knowing that if I understand the labor efficiency and the investment required to generate an opportunity, if I can figure out a way to do that, then my only bottleneck becomes my budget. But because my cash conversion is a cash offer within 36 hours, whether I'm leveraging local investors, whether I'm personally investing, whatever the rules are to that program, I don't want to digress and dive into that too much, but whether I'm leveraging Open Door, OfferPad, any of those sorts of things, and all of those people either work with real estate agents or as a real estate agent, those are programs you can put into place for your business. As I'm doing that, and as I'm leveraging that, all I have to do is make an offer. So all I have to do is have someone say that they received 2 offers in 72 hours. They don't have to accept them. They just have to receive them in order for me to get a testimonial, right? And so if someone receives an offer and they don't accept it, obviously we can go the traditional path. Marketing's already done its job. But the most important thing is my ad budget, because for me personally, I'm in a position where, again, I'm using a strategy where I have friends that are investors right now that I can call right now that'll buy those homes. And I'll be honest, I'll buy those homes if they're a good deal, like the ones that I've done in the past this way. So it's either me or one of my friends. If it's not with me or one of my friends in my investor network, my company offers express offers. So I can submit it to Express Offers. I can submit it to OfferPad or Open Door. I can make them not have to go through all of that. There's a lot of pros and cons there in regards to repairs and stuff like that I can talk about on my YouTube channel, which is, I can kind of unpack and decode that business model and the pros and the cons and what things to consider. I can put people on email drips. And again, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm also building authority because people don't want to list their house. People don't want to drill. They want a hole or they want a screw out of the wall. People want their home sold so they can move on. And I think when you enter the conversation or you address a real problem, the more the problem is real, which is having certainty around a date, I think you're going to get a super high response. Obviously, then you have the second benefactor, which is that person selling. They also could be a buyer. For every sale that's marketed correctly, obviously, you should generate buyers, whether that's through property brochures, through circle prospecting, through open houses. So that listing is going to give me more of my time back. I'll never forget trying to do a 3-point turn to go look at a house and hitting a mailbox in my brand new car. I bought a car. I never wrecked it. I only wrecked it the first week I had it, and it had a little bitty bump on it about this big on the bumper for the whole time it was the first brand new car I ever bought. And I remember thinking, why am I out here doing 3-point turns in the middle of the damn street trying to show this buyer, a house that they ain't going to buy? And so for me, I like starting with the sell side. I figure if I'm going to put the time in, energy, and effort, I want to crack that code. And that code definitely is something that could be cracked. One other thing that I just want to identify for people, all of this would be working for one reason, because I would start with the audiences, right? So audience 1, okay? Audience 1, all vacant homes. Audience 2, all homes that are occupied and leased, right? Any property that's leased, right? And I would tailor that messaging, probates, divorce, past 2 years of expireds, people who've defaulted on a credit card payment, people who've been over their home more than 7 years, right? So I would expand into those sub-markets. And again, where I feel like the traction, where it would go to the moon, would be with the video and demonstration of people sharing their experience and telling the stories, call it case studies, on the process. I think if you had 1 or 2 of those people that sold their home really quickly, had a great experience, and could validate what you promised, I think you would be in a strong position and you would have a scalable sell side of the business.
Michael, I think you knocked the cover off the ball. I think that everybody who's listening to that is probably like rewinding this video, taking notes as they should. And one thing that I want to just share with our audience is an example of that exact funnel, or at least the funnel pieces of it. Maybe not everything implemented to the entire strategy the way that you laid it out, but just kind of show you for context what that would look like in real life. So this is one of our agent partners who we've built this funnel out for. And let's just to kind of give an oversight, and we'll dive into the funnel, but about 14,000 people were driven to that funnel over the past year. And that resulted in, at the very bottom of the funnel, 433 appointments with sellers who are interested in getting up to 3 competing cash offers within 72 hours. And just to kind of give an idea of what that looks like, let's just kind of run through this funnel real quick. So again, the offer is 3 competitive cash offers. People are going to enter their address. And once they enter their address, we're going to take them through, which is what you mentioned, a step 1, which is getting the address first. So then if they don't give us the contact information, there's still additional leads that we can go and look up if we need to. But we're going to ask them if they're the owner of the property, just kind of do a little bit of pre-qualifying. Then we're going to ask them information about the home, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, the property type, all that stuff, the condition. And we're going to say that it's not listed. And then finally, we're going to ask for, how soon, timing and motivation, right? So again, this is a funnel. This is like the step-by-step process that we're trying to get information for. And then this is where we would enter our information in order to generate a lead. Now, I'm not going to generate a lead on their site. But what I do, actually, you know what? Maybe you guys can just blur this out. And so once we've entered in our contact information, again, we have a link to the calendar here where people can actually schedule a call in order to, to speak with somebody, right? So again, as we look at the numbers behind this, let's just assume, if we were doing just rough math, let's say 14,000 clicks, let's say it costs you $14,000, $1 a click to get somebody to that site through whatever kind of campaign that you're running, or maybe it costs $2. Let's just call it $1 for easy math. Let's say you spent $14,000 doing that and you got 433 appointments. Well, then the cost per appointment would be like $30, right? Which I'm sure that it was probably more than that. But again, this is what we're talking about here. And this is the power of a funnel, being able to predictably grow your business and have a system that predictably, turns advertising revenue. You can actually invest in your business and spit out clients on the other side of the business. And so at the end of the day, I hope that you guys, all the audience that's listening, I hope you guys found this valuable. If so, please like this video, drop us a comment. If you're listening on iTunes, drop us a comment. Let us know what you enjoyed. Let us know if you'd like more content like this, kind of these deep dives where we take you a little bit behind the scenes and give you our opinions on stuff. Let us know. And also to subscribe, because we're dropping this content. Our goal is to give you guys actionable stuff that you can literally take out into the marketplace and use. And so I appreciate this conversation today, Michael. I really enjoyed this. And, I know that this is at the heart of building a real business that is scalable and that really provides you with the life that you want, because like we always say, the best life to live
is the life by strategy.